Hey everybody, how's it going? Stephanie Aune, artist here in Concord, California. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood and I want to get outside soon. In the meantime though, I wanted to give you a quick rundown on something I've been working on. And this is my inspiration book. And this is still a work in progress. But basically what it is I do a lot of pinning on Pinterest, and if you want to see my pins, you go to stephanieaunedesign. On Pinterest, go to stephanieaunedesign. I don't think there's any spaces in there. And you can see all of these pins that I've put up there. The problem with Pinterest is that you keep everything in electronic format, and being such a visual person, I don't always think to go back to those files. So what I wanted to do was create a book of ideas. Now look at here, this crackle paste with this coloring, with this woman, with the birds. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's a really cool piece. And this one where they have, replaced the heart with a raspberry. Let me make sure you guys don't have a ton of, okay, good, glare on here. Looks like we're pretty good with that. So basically this is a 3-ring binder, with a 2-inch thick 3-ring binder, and these are just some plastic sleeves. I'm not using these pictures for collage, although I could take bits and pieces and add them to collages if I wanted to. But this is more for inspiration. I love this little girl standing on top of the reindeer. The little swirlies in the snow. This, the moon under the bottle with the woman on top. I mean, that's interesting. Butterfly over the face, the way that the birds are flying in her hair with the owl, with the trees. Oh, maybe those are supposed to be lightning bugs coming out of the bottle. I'm not sure, what the intention was. What I'm looking for is, look at how soft this feels. Look at how beautiful using that bird's eye with the woman's eye goes together with those beautiful flowers. What a really cool idea for assembly, for a collage idea. That coloring is gorgeous. Beautiful. So here is taking, I think this is pieces of tin foil through your Cricut or Cuttlebug, and this is colored with alcohol ink here. This is most likely with black gesso, and you wipe off the top of it. That's a great technique. If I'm ever just kind of stuck for doing something, I can sit and prep. And I've been doing a lot of prep work lately. Whoa! I've been doing a ton of coffee dyeing of scrap paper. And the reason why I'm doing all this coffee dyeing is that I want to start working on some journal ideas. Of course, my echo printing that I've been working on. It just fell all over the floor. Let me just show you my stack of stuff I've been doing. I don't do 1 or 2 of anything because that's just not in my DNA. I've got to do stacks because I just do. This is all coffee dyed. This was before I really knew that I needed to add or use instant coffee, coffee or tea dyeing. And so I've just been prepping paper. I've been prepping paper. It's crazy, I know, but it's a way to keep working when, after my book was finished, I needed a break. I truly did. I had to have a break from that intensity. I've also been working on, making all the jelly press sheets, and I'll show you that soon. Making these earrings. I have these exact stones. I could make something very similar to this. I also can do stamping on jewelry. I have all of the stuff to do that. So I can do, it's good to have ideas. This is an idea book. This is a cool box. I mean, look at this box. I have tons of cigar boxes because I love them. Cigar box. Love it. I love the way they smell. I love the way they feel. And look at all these cool things that you can do with it. I mean, that's awesome. That's really cool. Okay, just go find some furniture legs. And little knobbies on these. So, keep on the lookout for boxes where I could make these. I would love to have all of my individual ephemera in a cigar box and then just kind of have these stacked up. I think that's a great idea. I would love to do that. Here's making stencils out of hot glue. That would be a great project. I would love to play with that. And this just reminds me of all those projects that I've seen. I'm like, oh, that's beautiful how she's, obviously her nails, she's a she, doing that dripping process. Jelly plate. Look at those great colors on the jelly plate. Here's some gold leaf, which I just ordered some of that. Birds. I love birds. Look at the color. Look at the shapes. Look at the primitiveness. Look at the extension of the legs. Look at all of those different things. And then, and even these cool little drops. I mean, how cool would that little design element be in one of your pieces of art, of a collage art, that you could go in and doodle those in? These are very simple little shapes. You can easily make something similar to that. Again, this is more hot glue stencils. Here's making homemade stamps. I think those are awesome. And with the jelly press, they would be very cool. And again, here's some more homemade stamps. Here's using a battery for a stamp. Look at how cool that shape is. That target from the back of a D battery. Love it. Here's folded paper on the jelly press. That's a really cool look. I mean, it wouldn't be that hard to fold that paper. And here's some more stamping and jelly press, I think. And look at these great tags. I mean, look how gorgeous that is. All of this is just stunning. Ways to use color. Ways to compose compositions. Sometimes we sit there and we're stuck. We're like, well, what do I do next? If you have a book like this that has so many different ideas, you can just start making something. And I think that that's the hardest part, is just doing it. You think, oh, what am I going to do today? Well, look how simple these shapes are. So if I really wanted to, I could go in and fussy cut these shapes out and do them on a piece of scrapbook paper. And then I could color the edge of this. And then what would I do with all those different birds? How would I do this project my way? Look at the fish inspiration. That's a pretty simple shape there. I could easily do that with some scrapbook paper with, we saw these. Can you imagine taking part of pieces of this and making them into a fish shape? That would be pretty cool. Or a bird shape. Alcohol ink. I just need a can of compressed air. This is alcohol ink with compressed air. I have got to try that. I've got to try this one. Look at how cool these simple flowers are on here with this background. And it's just letting it be. For me, I get too fussy, and that makes me annoyed. Here is alcohol ink in the form of a tree. I love this. This is beautiful. I can do this. Here's pieces of fabric that are disassembled and reassembled in stripes. Love that. Very cool process. And I don't think that that's anything more than just a strip of fabric moved. And I don't know whether it's the fabric that has the lines. I would assume so, because they're very uniform. Who knows? I mean, you could sew all those circles together and make all of that and cut it up and do it. I think that's a ton of work. This dog is super cool, though. I mean, look at all just the different pieces of paper to make that awesome little guy. I mean, that's super cool. Fun project. Bird. Love birds. Love this bunny. That's a guitar tablature. Here's a little piece of netting in there. Look at polka dots, the bee, all of those things are different little things. How can I take something like this, the jelly press, or this primitive village, and how do I take that and make something I want to make? I'm not copying their ideas. I'm using them as inspiration. Here's using different stencils. Look, if you use these different stencils together, what kind of a cool pattern could you create? I think the stencils are still on here, sitting over the top of it. That was a great piece. Look at the color. Look at the vividness. This is amazing. What fun. I mean, those are just drawn circles in there. So many different layers. So attempt something like that. When you're stuck, the most important thing is to just do. And whether it is to prep work for when you're ready to start assembling or when you're ready to start making, prep is highly important in my book. Now look at how cool these few projects are here. I mean, aren't those really beautiful? To take that, these interesting shapes, I don't know whether they're 2-inch by 2-inch squares or whether they're larger than that. You cover them with your different pieces that you came out of the Cricut with, or just finding different, use aluminum foil that's crumpled up, all those different things that you can use, and hang something heavy so that they hang straight off of there. Put in some rivets. Rivets are awesome. Put it across the bar. And then look at like this guy. What if I were to take these wonderful, beautiful pieces that I'm making here, and I do that in something that hangs like this, and I put rivets in there. I could even, the possibilities are endless here of what type of cool things I could make, I could put these on top of another piece of board that's been painted, and then, what little assembly thing do I want to make off of them? Cool sticks making a fish. Sticks make a fish. Try it. Play with it. Art is about playing. Art does not have to be precise. When I'm doing something that's precise, I want to make it precise. When I am experimenting, I try to allow myself to play. Try. I'm not very good at it because I'm a little too type A about what my artwork is. It's what makes me good at doing paperwork. So I'm a little bit different that way. But look at this cool assembly stuff. Look at this awesome stuff. They're taking little faces, and then they're putting keys together with beads and springs, and they're just, look at watch faces for hands. Oh, those are little charms. Those are watch charms. I've seen those charms. What if you just took like a rusty old can, and see if it has any type of shape to it and make something out of it? I mean, look at these. I've always wondered how these are built up. Well, you've got a piece of cardboard, and then you've got some little doodads here and doodads there, and build it up and paint it and gesso it and make a cool background. I mean, I think that's really unique. And then you've got these little sculptural elements. You can apply the sculpture elements to collage, or you can, find interesting shapes just with, junk outside. Little face you can sculpt out of sculpty paste or paper clay or whatever. And I just think she's gorgeous. But here, if I were to take something like this to collage, I could take one of my raven faces with a dancing guy with, wings, or a hand, I mean, that's a cool piece. How can I make something that doesn't copy it at all, but that uses it as inspiration. It's an inspiration book. Look at this cool assembly of stuff. Look at this using sticks here. I think that's great. And this cool face and whatever this is made out of. Yeah, I'm sure you could find something that's kind of stiff that'll curl up. Reminds me of actually a dog rawhide that's been painted. I don't know if it is. That's what it reminds me of. Old pair of shoes. What could you do with an old pair of shoes? And more assembly. These are, little sculptural elements. You can watch this for faces. You can make something similar to this, or you can put it on paper. Look at the buildup of all of these different things. And I think it helps for me to be able to see it instead of just on a computer screen, Of course, we have these files and files and files of images and such. Look how cool. Just that piece of, I don't know whether it's cheesecloth or, burlap maybe. Some lace in here, some old stuff. That's really a neat way to put it all together. I love the color. I love the composition. And that could inspire me. Here's some more of these just little pieces, ways to put things together. I like the thought of making some smaller art and then adding them together to make a large story. I think that's a really cool, influential piece. What if you were to take one of your tins and use like a transparent paper or semi-transparent something, or rice paper or something, that you're making these beautiful long strips that tell a story. I love telling stories, you know that. The faces mixed with bodies, different bits and pieces put together. Look at these wonderful boxes. Again, I love boxes. I have a lot of them sitting around. Kind of cool little things. I love the bases on these. I love the toppers on these. It really, the little birds in there is great. The little fence in there. Little lock on the fence. It's just a way to look at objects or pieces of art and see how it can apply to you. While this isn't necessarily something that I would come up with, I do love the idea of taking an old checkbook box and matchbook boxes and separating those out. And, they've decorated the checkbook box, which gives it a little bit of a frame. It's just kind of an idea. It's a place to start from, right? I love these little tins. And people are making these really intricate little things with tins. These tags, you could never make the exact same thing that these people are making, ever. It's buttons, it's lace, it's paper, and a lot of people do things like this. You're not copying them, you're being inspired by them. And I think that's super important. Allowing your brain to think outside of just what you see. I love this. I love this picture. And this is really kind of cool how they've interpreted that, right? And their words that they put in, I love this woman sitting here on this broom with the moon behind. It's unique. Here's another little tin of a Halloween tin. It's got one of the little Tim Holtz, drawer pulls on top of it. I think that's really cool. These boxes that have lights put into them. Well, I have a lot of these lights because I make luminary bottles, which is painted alcohol ink painted on glass. But I wouldn't necessarily put these trees in there, but that really kind of gives a cool effect, right? So how do we interpret, how do we make that into something that would apply to us? Well, something with a night sky would be great. What a cool inspiration. This, I love this. This is a journal that has, I think it's upside down to you. But then look at this notebook. How somebody's decorated that. super cool. And then my ravens, which of course, look at how beautiful this is. I did a huge drawing that was centered around these types of weeds, and they're so beautiful. Their shapes are phenomenal. And the way that this artist did this piece of work is fabulous. The curled branches, the harmony, everything. This is just a great piece of work. If I hadn't printed it out, I probably wouldn't see it. And just different raven ideas, because I love ravens. And this is just kind of a funky shape. Look at those shapes. And just adding that element and those elements. And what could you do with that? There's a black cat. He's cool. Raven. So this is another idea here. This is taking resin and putting resin over thin dictionary pages. Don't those just make the coolest thing? And in fact, I need to try that. That is something that I want to try to do, because I think it'd be great on my next set of cards that I'm making. This I absolutely love. It takes a ton of beads. I do not have that many beads right now. And I guess I could go and buy some cheap, plastic beads. They have big tubs of them. That would work for something like that. The amount of time that you would have to put into this, though, makes this something that would be solely for you and not something that you would necessarily sell. You cannot make this for the amount of money that you could sell it for. Possibly. Maybe if you went with really high-end beads, but if you do that, how much is your expense versus profit? Always something you have to think about when you're trying to stay marketable, when you're thinking of the purchaser and not just as the artist. And of course, I have a sewing machine, and I bought all this great fabric, and I'd really love to make some of these simple dresses. I think, this is, they're good for me to see, because then I remember, oh yeah, I've got this all in one place. And this cool necklace. What an awesome necklace this is. So that's just kind of the beginning of this book, but these are all images that I have had saved on my Pinterest. And again, if you want to go to my Pinterest account, it's stephanieaunedesign. And then if you want to follow me, then you can see anything new that I add. So then there's other places to get inspiration. Now, for me, if I just have a magazine laying around, yes, I can open it up and get some inspiration from it, sure. But if I take my favorite things, now look at how cool that is. You know how I love my fleur-de-lis? Is that a fleur-de-lis? Or you know how I love those shapes. And look at this. This is just a layering of paper. Layering of fabric that's been grunged up. I think that's cool. I could easily put that in my inspiration book, and just to trigger a thought of, hey, if you've got any old canvas laying around, you can cut it up and you can do this. I mean, wouldn't this be cool to do with some of my acrylic flow paintings that haven't sold? I could easily cut up those paintings and make an assemblage, collage, however you want to say it, out of it. And in fact, that's a good idea. That's something I might have to come back to. Look at the use of color. Look at the use of the form. Look at how that can inspire you to make something that is your own and not something that is copying another artist. Or, copy them. As long as you don't sell it, what does it matter if you're making it for yourself, right? Just don't plan on selling it if you're making an exact replica of somebody else. Here's simplistic ways to make flowers, flowers with dots. Here it is, right here in the book. You know, using stencil with looks like that's some resist and some dots, and you know, all sorts of cool stuff in there. For me, sometimes having a big magazine, I don't get as inspired by that as I do by having things kind of separated to where I can just look at one page instead of seeing all the ads. This was a cool project. Look at that project. So I've been making all of these papers lately, and I could put the papers together and make something really beautiful. And this is this is echo printing. Isn't that beautiful in that journal? I don't know if that's actually a journal or if it's part of, you know, what they're making. Of course, I would read that over a little better. I'd probably put the whole article in that case, in the book, because that's a really inspiring project to me and something I would love to try. Kind of cool collages, right? Look at these boxes that are covered with the paper. I like that. I like that look. I could do that with my cigar boxes pretty easily. How can I take this idea, which I probably wouldn't use that idea. Not that there's anything wrong with it, it's just not my style, or it just doesn't quite inspire me. Those are cool. That's fun. Look at the little snap. Oh, that's a tip for frosting keys. Another key, a dice coming out of here, sitting on a block. Crackle paint on there. That's awesome. These are super cool. They'd be fun to make something similar to that, right? Drilling a hole through the dice. You know, I've got a ton of dominoes. I had done alcohol ink on dominoes, and you know, I was gonna make magnets and earrings out of them, and truthfully, I just don't think it's worth the hassle to do that. But I could start using those in work, which I think would be cool. Cool little elements, absolutely. This is beautiful. The coloration, the composition, you know, that's something that should be in the book. This is somebody using washers. You know, what inspires you? It's your book. And I challenge you to actually go out and find a 3-ring binder, go and buy some plastic sheets, and put your own idea book together. You know, look how, you know, this is a little 2-sided book. You know, what a great idea. Wow, that's, you know, that's pretty cool. Let's see who does this. Jenny, I can't read it because I'm upside down. And I'm horrible at pronouncing names. But, you know, this is a great little idea here. Both sides, small book, assembly. I love that idea. And then little, you know, tabs on those. Little charms hanging off. This would be fun to make and, you know, to sell if somebody would buy it. How do you make it commercially viable? That's what I think about, and I know that a lot of you don't think about things that way. You know, so in here there's all sorts of different inspiration. So, and that's cool, right? And these are just a few magazines that I've gotten recently when they had their sale. They had a 99-cent sale at Stampington. Look at these mini books. You could take your little 2-inch pieces of paper and make little collages and book them together. What do you do with them once they're booked together? How do you make that a product that you could sell and still make something that you love and enjoy? But it would be kind of a cool gift to get or to give to somebody. And sometimes it's fun to just make stuff for yourself too. I have a tendency to make things in mass quantities, and when that happens, I have to sell them because otherwise my house gets overrun with artwork. Not that that's a bad thing, but so yeah, make an idea book, everybody, and it will help you through those times where you are stuck. And then when you're stuck, also go through and do your prep work. And this is a page of coffee dyed paper that I did. It's really interesting. I love the this is scrapbook paper. Excuse me. I love how the back side turned out as much as I love the front side of it, you know. And I want to start making some journals out of these. And how, you know, I've been watching a lot of journal making stuff lately. Being really inspired by that. So, you know, it's a time factor. I know that once I get started, I have that huge stack of paper. I won't stop until I make 5 of them. That's going to take 2 weeks. Maybe more, maybe less. Who knows? Right now I am in the process of making these beautiful things. Again, these are inspired by Seth Apter and the class that I took from him. However, this is going to be a little bit different process. It is a different process in that I am not going to take it to the place that I took my original set of cards. Here's the original set of cards. And this is what I am going to be doing. So this is a much, where it starts out at the same place, it is not going to end at the same place. So I may feel okay about sharing with you this process because I'm not going to go as far as I went with these guys. And there's just a real beauty in how this paint has turned out, and how this process has turned out. I might be able to show you a couple more. Let me look here. So, look at the beauty of this page. So these are all things that I was working on while I was doing my jelly press extravaganza. The green's really bright. So in this process, see, those are cool. So again, they're stuff I'm making, stuff that's on the table. Taking inspiration and making it mine and figuring out, you know, what would people want with it, what journal prompts or art prompts, what would make this a viable option for people to purchase. So anyway, that's the skinny on what I've been up to. And I haven't been really working on a book yet. I will get started, I promise, on the Back to Basics. So expect one of those videos to come out hopefully this weekend, hopefully after this video gets up. So please, 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 please comment and let me know what you do for inspiration. Let me know if you have some sort of book that you have put together or some sort of file. Let me know what you think about the process. I know all of you don't have access to a printer, but you should have some sort of access to a printer in this day and age. Not that you necessarily want to make all those, color copies, but if it's a book for you, I think sometimes investing in the ink to make a reference book for yourself, I think that's a good investment. And again, you can use any magazine. If you have like a sunset magazine, there's a lot of pictures of vineyards or landscapes, or, how do those things influence you? It's really starting to look at things from an artist's mind, from creating something on your own that is uniquely you, and how do you take their ideas and make it into yours. Okay, my fellow artists, thank you so much for listening to me ramble this afternoon, and I need to go outside and go and enjoy this glorious day. I really should start some project, but again, I'm gonna try to get this video up, and I'm still working on display stuff for jewelry. It's another big thing I'm doing. Work was stressful this week, worse than usual, and just kind of recovering from all of that. Got to get laundry done. That's a pretty big list for now. We'll just leave it there. Okay. All right, everybody. Have a great day, and enjoy your time that you spend at your table. Really think about the beautiful things that you can make, and just start layering paint. Just start playing with paint. Layer and see what you come up with, These guys, I've got strips left now of this paint stuff. What am I going to do with these cool strips? Got to be something I can do with these. I mean, look at those. Wouldn't those be cool little 1-inch things? I mean, I might have to do that, actually. Right? So that's how my brain works. Always. I see something, and then I'm like, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? What can I make? That's seeing like an artist, folks. Okay. Have a great day. Bye.